Hi, my name is Nati. My pronouns are she, her.
Hello, I'm Michelle. My pronouns are also she, her.
We are here to talk about the Stitchery Notion template that I created. I'm a cross stitcher. I design sometimes, and I am really, really interested in tracking stitching and organizing my stitching, and that's why I created this template. And Michelle here is being super awesome and gonna help me demonstrate how to use this template. So we're going to get started from the very, very beginning. Hopefully, as we just work our way through this, it will answer a lot of questions that people have. But if it doesn't, please let me know. All right, so what is this template? Basically, it's a way to organize your whips, organize your stash, track your stitching if you'd like to track stitching days or progress of number of stitches a day, all of that, just taking pictures. Basically, I used to have an Excel sheet that I tried to track that, but it just didn't give me all the things that I needed. And an awesome stitcher was telling me about this, and I jumped right in. So 6 months later, ended up tweaking it enough to feel comfortable to share it with others. So it's now available on my Gumroad. I'll link it down below. But basically, when someone clicks the link to the template on Gumroad after they buy it, they see this page. And after they create a free Notion account, they can duplicate it to their account and just do whatever they want with it. So you can change the colors, you can change the pictures, you can move things around, you can add extra ways of sorting your whips, but you can really just make it your own. But because it's such a feature-heavy template, I wanted to share this tutorial on how to actually make this work. So I think I would let Michelle kind of start by duplicating this to her Notion account.
Okay. So I already made a Notion account, and I'm going to click duplicate. It takes a minute because there's a lot of stuff, right?
There's a lot of stuff, but
it's good
it
stuff.
duplicates. It gets there, and then you can get a lot of things done with it. Yeah, I think this is a tool that for me was very, very helpful. But I've seen people use it in so many different ways so far, and I'm just going to try to share some tips from others as well today. Okay, so first thing that you can do is probably make it your own and change the name of it. So I put the Stitchery as the main name for this, but Michelle's got her own ideas.
Just so I know.
Perfect. So you can change the banner to be a different picture. So if you click change cover, you'll see different options that are already made, or you can upload. And then you can change the icon as well. So I put this needle thread, but you can choose whichever one you'd like. So, I love it. So what have we got? We've got some quick actions at the top left. So you can create a new project. You can track today's progress. You can add some fabric, some floss, and then some other features when it comes to your shopping list. And we'll talk about that a little later. And then if you look at the far right, you've got your databases. So you've got your whips, your tracker, your fabric stash, your DMC that already has all the numbers pre-populated for you, and a Floss Dash database. So we'll go over all of those in just a minute. The dashboard shows you basically filter views of monthly or weekly views, yearly snapshots, and some project cards. So basically a way to see all the information you need about a certain project. And then if you scroll down, calendar view shows you when you stitch on a whip, how much you stitched on it, if you like to track that, but it's not mandatory to track stitching numbers, but it's available. And then next to it, you can see a shopping list. it is all connected to the databases that we'll look at. So I put the fabric, the DMC, and the different floss available there too. So it tells you exactly what you need. And I like to use it if I go to an LNS in person. And then scrolling down further, you get to the last part, which is some progress photos, because I didn't want to put any specific whips here. I put some fake whips for you to kind of be able to see. So this is the last 30 days progress. So you can see it's reverse chronological order, and you can see the date and the different information about the whips and progress that you've made. So we can get started with kind of going over the databases because that's where everything is linked. If you go to your whips, you've got the fake whips that I put in there. We've got different categories that Notion has for us when it comes to progress. So there's to do, there's in progress, and then there's complete. I have one whip of each. And you can see you can choose a designer, you can put when you started it, what type of progress you've made on it, if any. And then if it's finished, you have a finished date. And latest seen is basically if you're going to be using this for tracking, it will show when the last time you tracked progress was. All right, we can click on the materials. If you look at that, you've got the info for your fabric and floss on the right-hand side. It all comes from a way to link your databases. So the whips database shows you all your whips, but you can link it to your fabric and you can link that to your floss. And then it just gives you all this information. We can also track our starts and finishes. So since I created this in 2023, there was only 2023 progress available at this point, but you can see the projects that were started in 2023 and then finishes for 2023. And then the latest scene, that's one of the screens that I really like to use because I can see, oh, I have not stitched on this in a few months. Let's get this to the top of my to stitch list. So that's kind of how it goes. And it will show you that in different ways of filtering, but you can also add a bunch of different views after the fact. If we go back to the main page, so at the top, you can see there's a way to navigate. So Michelle's cross stitch, and we'll go over the stitch tracker database. So this is just the database overall, kind of saying, when did you stitch on it? How many stitches? Which whip? And then the progress photo as well. So if you click on one of the progress photos views, you've got a few different options, right? So there's one that goes by date, and that other one that goes by whip. So you have it grouped like that. And if you really wanted a specific breakdown, you can look whip breakdown, and it just shows you all the information. And because it's all grouped, you can see the sum of like how many stitches you put on that one in total.
Cool.
The calendar is also an available view. So since we've got all those things done in August, so you can see when you stitch on anything. So yeah, this is the stitching tracker view. You won't necessarily have a lot of engagement with this view because on the main page, we'll take a look. There's a way to quickly enter your stitch progress for the day. So you may come to this to take a look later, but you don't necessarily have to come all the way to this view to log your progress. Okay, let's take a look at our fabric stash. So you have a few different views here too, but you've got your fabric name, the count, different types. So you can choose whichever one you'd like. You've got the dyers. You can add color family. You can add categories. And then you can link it to an actual whip. However, if you have a piece in stash that is not being used on a whip, you don't need to put that in there. If you want to buy a certain size of your fabric, you can just choose if you click on one of them.
Click open.
Wait, you can click on the to
Yeah.
buy column. You can figure out like, okay, how much do I need for my pattern, and put a fit eighth, for example. If you scroll to the side, you can add how many pieces do I have in stash? One. What's the size of it? So it's 9 by 9, for example. Some people change the size in stash to fit, like fit eighth, fit quarter, and whatnot, but I just like to actually measure how much I've got left, especially because I just have some scraps that I can still use. And then the fabric info column basically takes all this information from different columns and put it like in a nice little sentence for you. And that way you don't have to see 4 different columns to get that information. So when you look at your web page, you can just see that info in one spot. That's just kind of the way I like to have this organized. You can change different categories to your fabric. Yeah, if we look through whips, that's the whips that are using the different fabrics. If you look through stash, is what you actually have in stash. So let's say this is what we've got left. And then shopping list.
Oops. Clicked on the wrong screen.
Shopping list is what you already marked that you want to buy. And then the gallery view is if you really like to see what that looks like, what your fabric looks like. I made some, mock photos of things. These are not actual fabrics. This is kind of how you can take a picture of your fabric, and this is how you can kind of see that. And it's filtered by neutrals, dark, brights, muted. But again, you can change your settings and how you like to filter things. But if you're not super familiar with how to use all these different things in Notions, what I would recommend, so let's say at the top on the gallery tab, if you right click that, you can duplicate that one. And then you can call it gallery 1 for now.
Okay.
If you go to filter, for example, you can change it by color family. You can change it by count. So you can just have showing just the 40 counts. That's for filtering. If you go back and instead of filtering, you are going to group. You can change it instead of by category at the top. You can group it by dyers if you like. So I have a bunch of different dyers that I already had available because these are ones that we've had, used, but people can just add their own stuff. And yes, then it would show you according to those. You can also do hide empty groups. So if you don't have anything from a certain category, it won't show. So that's just a quick way of doing it. I think we can go over the DMC list next.
Go back to my main page and then DMC.
Main page, DMC. All right, because this is only the regular 6-strand DMC, none of the other specialty ones, but you've got all of them listed with some color family. You can fight me on what some colors are. I just went by what DMC said they were.
I'm not fighting you. This is fantastic.
You can filter by what you need. You can see that you have a few different columns there. One is where is my floss, and the other one is used in WIP. And that's just something that I got from a couple of designer friends that wanted to catalog, to use the same Notion template, but they wanted to catalog what DMC was used in their designs. So that means if I wanted to use where is my floss, for example, if I wanted to know if it's in a specific project bag, I would just say, okay, DMC 33 is with WIP 2. But let's say I finished WIP 2. But let's say I designed WIP 2 and I really wanted to just know, top of my head, which flosses were used in it. So used in WIP is basically what you can, a column you can put it in that would not affect where's your floss. So it doesn't necessarily mean that this floss is with your WIP, but it's a way for you to know that this was used in that.
Got it. So if I'm looking for floss 33 and I can't find it anywhere, I can go to Notion, and if it's in the where's my floss column, 33 is in
the project bag
the
for
project
WIP
bag.
2.
But like this one, 310, it's not with WIP 1 anymore, but I did use it in WIP 1. That's genius. That's going to save me so much time.
So, well, I can tell you later who is the genius designer that told me about that, the need for that.
Shout out to whoever
I don't know
that was.
if they would like to be
Brilliant.
included.
Brilliant.
But they are brilliant. Yeah, because for them, it was like, okay, I want to know like what flosses I used in all my WIPs, all their designs. So yeah, again, if you really don't care about knowing what floss you use in this design, don't worry about it. Don't put anything in used in WIP. If you really just want to know where your floss physically is, because you have 5 skeins of 310, but you can't find any of them, you may just want to use where's my floss. And then if you go all the way up to your tab.
Oh, hold on. Hope I don't make anyone sick. Okay.
Go to shopping list. You can see 310 is there because I can't find any and I'm done with it. If you go to your stash, I guess I also have one in stash, but I want another. If you go to your floss finder, that shows you, okay, this is where my 34, 33 are. So that's kind of how I like to work with those. Yeah. So if you go back to the main page, we can take a look at our floss stash. And this one, we only have a couple in there because I didn't want to overwhelm everyone and put a bunch extra. But again, if you're going to be using this, you can just delete those and delete the WIPs and all the things. For this one, you can see a bunch of different things. You can see the name. You can see if the floss has a number. For example, like Threadworks, they use their number. You don't necessarily see the name on the tag. So I usually put both if I have a number. Dyer, you can choose, you can add things to that. The type, so for example, Tudor silk is a specific 12-stranded one. We can use 6-strand silk. There's 6-strand cotton, metallics, and then just if you find anything else, just add that. Color family, just choose whichever one you feel is appropriate. And then that's where you're going to say, okay, is my floss with a WIP? That's where it would be. Where's my floss? The one next to it is in stash. So let's say I don't have that in stash. Let's say I want to buy one. I'm going to put to buy. And that adds it to your shopping list on the main page as well. And then, for example, I wanted to say this is used in a certain WIP. So I put it there. But you don't have to use it if you don't like to track that. So the top tabs look exactly the same. So stash, shopping list, and floss finder. Yeah. Okay, I think we can go back to the main page. Okay. We covered all the databases. The biggest thing about the databases, they all talk to each other. So you saw you can link the stash, like the fabric, to your WIPs, and you can link the DMC to your WIPs and the floss to your WIPs. And then the stitch tracking to your WIPs as well. So everything is linked to your whips. And then the dashboards, we can take a look at them a little later. But you know what? Let's take a look at the monthly one right now.
Let's do it.
So there's a few different ones in those carrots that are hiding things. But we can take a look at the automatically updated ones and look at the last 30 days or this month, whichever.
Last 30 days.
Awesome. So this is one of my favorite features. I was able to create those views basically since we just created a bunch of different smaller views that are filtered to show the last 30 days. So what are we showing in this one? We're showing your progress. So if you like to track stitch counts, you can do it there. If you just like to track which days you stitch on a whip, you can do that. And also get some photos if you need it. You can take a look at your starts. It will pull that for you. So if you said that you started a whip during the last 30 days, it will be pulled to that list. And it automatically updates. So 3 days from now, it will have the 3 days from now, just the last 30 days since then. Finished. Yeah, finishes, same thing, would be there. Your calendar would be showing this last month. One thing that I do like, and some folks said was helpful for FlossTube filming and whatnot, is the project cards. So this part is being filtered by things that you have actually tracked that you worked on over the last 30 days. That means all the whips that you worked on the last 30 days will appear there, and you'll have the name, the designer, when you started, your percentage of progress if you track that, and the fabric that it's on. Since that's what a lot of people share, I kind of filtered it this way. If you like to have less information, more information, you can go to the top, the 3 dots, and you can go and look at properties. And you can choose which properties to show on each card. So this is very customizable. You can do whatever you'd like with that. If you want to know how many days I stitched on it in 2023, you can put that and it will be available on the card. And you can see 3 days. Yeah, so for example, so you can choose whichever one you'd like. But again, this view filters the last 30 days. If we go back one step before to the monthly, yeah, you can do this month. So it would be only August, from August 1st until, now. So it shows the same because that's the whips that we have in our template. And then if you want to see just this week, let's see, you will not see anything. Why? Because we have not had anything this week. One more thing you can do is take a look at the notes part at the bottom left, and you can just put in a list of what you want. So if you're going to be using it for recording FlossTube, you can put like, these are the hashtags that I've used, or these are the things that I wanted to talk about. Exactly. So you can do all those different things. I love it. Yeah. So again, this one is just very customizable. If you're not really into seeing things in real time, you can go one back. And then 2023. And you can look at August, for example. And this one will just stay fixed for you. So even if you go at 2025, you're going back to take a look. Oh, what did I work on in August 2023? When I decided to spin a wheel and work on a bunch of things. Oh, this is what I worked on. So this stays fixed. So I created those from 2023 until the end of 2025. So you'll have monthly fixed views that are going to be available. If you wanted to use that past 2025, you can duplicate this view and just change the filters for each one, or you can just keep using the ones that are automatically updated. So the way I see this is if someone likes to record FlossTube once a month, it's something that they can do. The weekly view shows the last 7 days, so it helps for people that record weekly. But if you record in a different interval, I would say you can just create one that shows like every 2 weeks or the last, or like since that day until now. And it will filter since your last filming day until now. So that's kind of how I see this view. We can go one step back again.
Okay.
Wow, I've been talking a lot.
I feel like I don't want to say too much, but the monthly and weekly views with the project cards and everything, I can't wait. I didn't even know that I could use that for my floss tube. I'm so excited. Next week I will be like on the ball.
Oh, I love it. I'm excited. It's like that's part of like the way why I made it that way, because for some folks it's like, well, let me see. I don't remember what's the fabric I've used this for, and it's like, oh, it's all there. So
Exactly. That's amazing.
Oh, thank you. So one more thing for people that really like to go into the statistics is the yearly snapshot. And if you go to 2023, you can see a lot of information. So it tells you for each whip, and so the first page is all the whips that you worked on in 2023. So let's say I have 25 whips and I have not worked on 10 of them this year. Those 10 will not show in this view. It would show in the last one that says whip progress total. But this one, what did you do in 2023? So whip 2 is in progress. It's 90%. I last saw it in August 8th. I only stitched on it for 2 days and it was 450 total. One thing that I like to have for myself, so I added, was most stitches per day. So it's like, yeah, the most per day for this one was 250. You've got a daily average. And then if you scroll to the side.
Oh, here it is. I couldn't find my scroll bar.
Oh, yes, because I have this screen split. So like the top one is the actual table and the bottom one is a calendar. So yeah, you can see progress in 2023. You can see general progress at the first part, and then starting point. So this is one thing that when we start putting some whips in just a few minutes, we'll go over. But basically, you already have a whip that was started before you started using this template, and you use Pattern Keeper or another way to track your stitches, and you know that you're at a starting point of I already stitched 450 stitches out of 900. So once you put that in, and we'll do that with a new whip so it makes more sense, you put the total number of stitches on your whip and you put the numbers that you stitched, and it will calculate your percentage starting point, and you'll see that later. But one thing that I do like to see is the stitches left on the right-hand side. So, I only have 50 stitches left for this whip. And that you can see it was like a formula of like how many I have total and how many I stitched. So like stitch count minus the stitched on whip.
That scared me. That's why I closed it.
The nice thing about this is that you don't need to create formulas. So I was already like putting all the formulas in it. The thing is knowing what each cell means, and that's what we're going to talk about in just a minute too.
Excellent.
Yeah. You can see for the top tabs, you can see there's 2023 starts and that information about them, and finishes, and the progress total. So this is even like includes whips that were not started, like and anything else. So that's just a little bit about that part. All right, so now you have to tell me if you're ready to put in some whips in there for you.
I'm so ready. I'm so excited.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So the quickest way to do that, because you can go to databases and whips and do all of that. But the quickest way would be create new whip at the top left under quick actions.
Create new project.
So you can click actually the word new below it.
There.
There we go. Now you can change this new project to the name of your whip. All right. Put in your designer.
Everyone's going to see my concentrating face.
Yeah, if you right-click it, actually. Oh, yeah. You can click on it first and right-click on the Witchy Stitcher. Oh, sorry. I guess it's the 3 dots. Yes. You can change the color if you like it to be a certain color.
I think she's gray.
Yeah. Gray works. And then when did you start it?
I started it yesterday.
Awesome. So what's your progress status on that?
Definitely in progress.
Awesome. Do you know the stitch count of this?
Yes. Look at me. I'm like prepared for that. Kind of prepared. $103 by $153.
Oh, I apologize. For this one, do you know like the number of stitches?
I don't know the number of stitches.
All right. So actually, the 103 by 153 would be dimensions.
Dimensions. Okay.
Perfect. What fabric are you using for this one?
This is, it's 32 count eek.
Okay, so you can do, actually, yeah, click on the bottom one, then add new, yeah. Click on it again.
Cool.
Now you can actually put all the information about this fabric. So what's your count?
32 count. And it's linen. And for this plus, I'm going to say bright. Orange and black. This is so much fun. Okay, sorry.
I like it. I like it.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Photo, you can, if you had a photo, you could put it in there, but no worries. Size and stash. So at this point, is the full fabric being used in the whip?
It is.
Okay, so don't worry about that. And then let's say if you're not going to use all of it, and then you're going to be just putting some back, you can measure it and put it in there so you know how much you've got in stash. All right, so since you don't have anything in stash, it's only with a whip, you don't want to buy another one quite yet.
Nope.
You're going to go and you can close out this one.
Where I...
I think the little arrows here will be okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go back to your whip information from whip database. And here you go. So open this. I have it set to open on side view, but you can also open things like in center view. So yes, if you click on this, you can do in center peak, or you can do it one more to just have like the full page, whatever you prefer.
Oh, and then I have my little navigation things at the top.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah, so we don't have a stitch number. Do you know which DMC or other floss you're using?
I do. So, well, 310. We'll start with 310.
We'll start with 310. Yeah, for now we can say it's all 310.
Okay.
Yeah. If you had, so DMC versus floss basically is like the floss would be anything other than DMC.
Okay. I do have a couple of those. We could add one.
Ooh, let's do that.
Okay. Floss. So I don't know what that stands for, but this is a Brennan needle. So new one in stash, and then click it again.
I should have totally already had them in my... Yes.
And this is yellow.
It is yellow. Does it have a number?
No number.
No. Okay.
I have one. Tape is cotton. Used in whip is already there. And then I can add it to, that's where it is. So if I'm looking for it.
Yes.
And then just click over here.
Yes.
Oh, there it is.
So again, perfect. I love this. So, And you can see you only put the floss name at the top. But then if you're looking at the floss, like the full name, it says Breeder Needle SOE.
Oh, yeah.
That's how it's going to appear. Just to distinguish, like the top floss is the one used in the whip in general. And then the floss with whip is the one that is physically with the whip in the project bag. So there's that.
I love that so much because I can never find my floss.
You're not alone.
I know. I think I'm not. That's good. Okay. And then
Yeah. Okay. And then, so some of this information you can see that has like a formula kind of thing next to it. This is nothing that you need to actually manually input.
Okay.
When you put the numbers, like the one with the hashtag number sign next to it, it will use a formula to create some information for you. That means if you're tracking stitching counts, so you know the total number of stitches in a whip. Let's say it's 1,000. And let's say you already started it and you have 500 that you already put in there. That means that you're at 50%. So once you put 1,500, it will calculate it for you.
Got it.
It seems like for this one, you're not going to be counting the full stitches or whatever. So we're not going to worry about that.
Okay.
If you keep scrolling down, so a lot of those that you can see that have like percent next to it and all the formulas, those are going to be calculated. And you'll see some fields for 2024 and 2025 because we want to be able to calculate it for those years.
Right.
Yeah. So if you're scrolling down further, you can see a couple of things. Floss conversion, you can put, this is what they called for floss. This is my conversion. So this is available and pre-populated in every new whip that you're going to put in.
Oh my gosh. And do these link to anything or would I just free text it in? Like,
this is just free texting.
oh my gosh.
So
This is genius.
I've used it. Oh, I love it. I've used it for example, the Let's Make a Statement series. I made a couple of changes because I found a really nice variegated floss, and then I found the DMCs that were matching that. And I basically copy and paste that conversion to the others that I'm stitching. So that's kind of how I like to use this. And you can put different notes at the bottom. But again, that's just going to be what makes most sense for your needs. So you don't have to do anything, but it's available.
Cool.
Okay, so the top 3 buttons, which is those 3 little things, are actually ways of documenting that you started or that you finished a project. So since you already put the information for starting, you're good. But if you wanted to track today's progress from here, it would already link it to this whip. But a lot of times I'll show you a better way of tracking your progress.
Okay.
If you like to add a comment, you can also do that over here. But yeah. Yeah. And you can see, because this is a tool that sometimes teams use to talk to one another, you can see that you're the one that wrote this comment.
Right.
But for most of us stitchers, like each person would have their own and we just use their own. Okay, so this is your first whip. How do you feel about inserting that? So you can you can put in your information there. You can add a cover. So if you wanted to put, do you have the photo cover of this whip?
I do actually.
Okay.
Let's let me just, y'all don't need to see that. I mean, you could, but nobody wants to see the disarray that my that my mind is in.
No worries. I like it though. So yeah, you can choose that. And then you can reposition that. So if you click on reposition, You can move it down a little
Oh,
bit,
cool.
whichever.
Yeah.
Yeah. However, if you go back to your main page and go back to your monthly and weekly views, for example, go to anything that would show this week. So you can do this week.
There it is.
You've got it there. If we track the stitching day, so you said you started stitching on it yesterday, right?
Yesterday. Yep.
Okay. And one more thing to notice, if you put a comment about your whip, you will have this little
Oh, right there.
comment bubble.
Oh, there.
Yeah, over here. Yes. So let's say go and click on, actually, let's go back to your main page. And at the top left, you have your track today's progress. You can use it to track even progress of a day before today.
I'll do
But
yesterday.
let's do yesterday's.
Yeah.
Yes. So when it comes to title, I like to title the date because there's no way to filter out this specific thing in Notion, that specific field of your title.
Okay.
And it's easiest to find things by date for this one. So I just tell people just put the date in whichever format makes sense for you.
So you would
It
just
can be this way for our US folks, or it can be flipped for anyone else.
for everyone else.
But yeah, actually, some places put this in a total different way too. So you can do it this way. Number of stitches, if you like. You don't have to.
I did count them. I've been counting them ever since I started using
Nice.
Notion. I've been counting them on my calculator.
I love this. 762. That's a lot of stitches.
That was a lot of stitches.
And then your whip. So here, you're going to link it to your whip. So just click and it shows you all your available whips. And once you click on it, it's linked. And then that's all you need. So you need the date. You need the number of stitches if you like to do it. And you need the whip. Your progress photo, if you have one already here, great. If you have one on your phone, we can kind of show what that looks like to add it from your phone.
Oh, yeah. I do have one on my phone.
Okay, so close this out for a second. And you can go back to your, let's go back to your monthly view.
Okay.
And this month. So you can see it's, since you tracked stitching on it, this is now on your project cards. So you can see all that information there. So yeah, this is like basically this photo that you put at the top is what you're going to see in your project cards. And the setting is to fit to size. If you want it to be in a different setting, you can change it so it just crops it. But I like it being full size and not cropped.
Yeah, me too. I like to see the whole thing.
That's the default. Okay, so let's see. If you've got your phone and you've got your photo ready.
Okay.
Perfect.
Good.
So now we've got a phone.
Yes.
You can go into the one below, I guess, like the one that is your new one.
Got it.
Perfect. And if you scroll down, you have a few different ways to edit what you just put in. So basically the web app and your phone app, they talk to each other and they sync in real time. So if you scroll down to your calendar.
All the way. Okay.
And you click on today or yesterday.
Yesterday.
And you click on this again, your entry. You can add your progress photo from here. So add your image, choose your file.
Yesterday's project.
Perfect.
And what I found from uploading is that I don't want to do actual size. I want to upload it small.
Yeah.
And then done. And then it
Perfect.
takes just a second.
And it will be there. Yes. So if you go back to your screen.
Look at that. I didn't know if that was going to work.
It worked.
It worked.
One more thing about this little view. The calendar next to it, you can see the progress photos too.
Oh,
instead.
yes. Oh, look at
So I forgot that it's there to show
so
you.
excited.
So yes, we've got this reverse chronological order again. Basically, it filters to this month because this view shows this month, but it would filter to this week or to this, last 30 days, depending on what you choose. Yeah, so you can see it there. Yeah, I think that was kind of the, quick and dirty about how you're putting your progress into this Notion.
Very cool.
Yeah, so you can kind of see that you've got your, the other thing up there in your this month list. There's one below, it says this month total. Yes, you can break it down by whip as well.
Oh. Oh, very cool. So,
So,
Baba Yaga,
yes.
whip 1, whip 2. Very cool.
Yes. So, a lot of different ways of viewing information. You'll probably find whatever makes sense for you and works for you, but that's kind of how you put your whip list. Do you want to put a couple of more, or do you have, for example, a full coverage that you have on Pattern Keeper, and we can show what that looks like when we're putting all that information?
Oh, yeah, let me grab my tablet.
Awesome.
I'm out. Okay.
Okay.
Let's do Contessa. Let's do Josephine.
Oh, all right. So we have a full coverage project.
Yes.
So we can put a lot of information about it. All right. So how do you put your new project in?
So I'm going to create a new project and click new. I feel like this is a test now. But I'm going to do the center peak.
Actually, you can do full page.
Should I do full page?
That way.
Let's do full page.
Yeah, I think full page is actually pretty good for this because when you're going to add your materials, they will pop in your center peak. But then when you get out of them, you just get back to your web information.
That's a good idea. So Josephine with squid. I'm going to add a squid.
There's a squid.
I have way too much fun with the icons at the top.
like the icons.
I love them so much. Whoops.
You can change your cover. So
to Josephine.
Awesome. And then you can reposition if you'd like.
I'm going to leave it there.
This looks pretty
good.
That's
probably pretty good, yeah. So this is... And let me know if I spell something wrong.
Well, do you want to keep it as Josephine or do you want to change it to Contessa?
Oh, yeah, it's Contessa.
That's a whole other question.
Right.
But both would work.
I'll have to put the nickname. We'll keep it official. Contessa with squid. There we go. I started this. Just keep rolling?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to pull up my old-fashioned spreadsheet so I can tell you when I started it. I started this 12/26/2018.
Awesome. Perfect.
And I did not finish it yet. It is in progress.
Oh, also for progress, you can take a look at your different options. So the default for the main categories here are to do, in progress, and complete. This is what Notion gives you as default. Within those, you can change what are my to-dos to kit up or kit it up. What's in progress, mostly just in progress. Some people say timeout.
Oh, yeah.
And they added that as an option. You can add that as an option if you'd like. And then completed.
I like finished and fully finished.
Yes. I also, for my personal one, have a UFO option. But again, people can just find their own ways of categorizing things. So I just wanted to make sure that people know this is an option. All right. Stitch count for this one.
She is 367,500 stitches.
Wow.
I know.
She big. Dimensions.
I think she's 525 by 700.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
fabric.
It is. So in here, this is my question. Would you put, because she's on 25 count easy grid, would you name it easy grid? Or is that the type?
You know what? Let me see what I did for mine, because I have one that is on easy grid. And I think that I put it as the name, because I think that's the name of the name of the color or whatever.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But I will double check. But yeah, if you do easy grid and then add as new, you can put all the information about it.
And then click it again. So this is a 25 count. Oh, there. And then I would pick even weave because it is an even.
Perfect. Yes. Yeah, and that's kind of how I did it with mine. I want to say that one was a Zweigart.
I think so. White.
Mm-hmm.
White again. It's already linked with Contessa.
Mm-hmm.
One whip. And I don't need to buy it or anything. So we're good.
Perfect. So since you opened it in full page, once you get out of the peak, you can just still continue here. So now when it comes to your other flosses, for me personally, I do not link DMC for like a big full coverage to the whip. If you have 90, colors, that usually I don't do that. You are welcome to do that if you'd like, but I don't see a lot of need for that.
I might come back and do that, but we'll skip it. We'll skip it for now with my 89 colors.
And that's usually not as needed, just depending on how you do things, but it's an option. All right, starting point. This is where things would make sense for this whip.
Okay.
How many stitches did you already put in that?
I have 41,924.
Okay. So now if you click on this, you can see what's your percentage for your starting point.
It's 11.4%.
Also, does this match your pattern keeper?
It does. It does.
Okay. Making sure. Yep. Usually I double check. That way it means I didn't mistype something. So latest scene, since you have not tracked any progress on it, you will not see that, and that's fine. And all this other information will come in as you're tracking that.
Got it.
So that's that for that one. If you scroll down, you can put your notes. So whatever you'd like to put in.
Contessa on the 8th, even though I never do that. That's okay. Put it there anyway.
One way that you can use this actually is kind of as a planner. So if you go back to your main screen.
Okay.
And we already passed the 8th and the 16th this month. So if you go to the next month and you click on the 8th, and plus, you can already kind of use this as a planner and put a whip that you want to stitch on for that day.
Link it here.
Yes. And then you don't necessarily put anything else. You can just like put the date. 9.
9.
But yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Good call.
No worries. And then it will be something that you can kind of like, oh, this is what I want to do. So if you like to use it as a planner, you can do that.
That's genius.
However, this will be pulled to your last scene one. So if you see something and you're using it as a planner, it will skew that for you.
Got it.
But you can just make of it whatever makes sense for you.
Yeah.
Let's see. If you look at your project cards, under dashboards.
Oh, dashboards.
Oh, yeah.
Dashboard project cards.
Yeah. And we have not looked at this way yet, but you can just see all your whips, and then your finishes and kitted up projects are going to be there too.
Oh, this is cool.
So I just kind of like to have that available, and you can just at a glance see, oh, I'm at 11% here. Oh, I'm at 90% there. Great. So yeah, this is just like another way to view your WIPs at a glance if you like it.
Yeah.
You can always just filter things in a little bit differently. But yeah, what questions do you have so far?
I can't think of any. This is great. Let me look. I'm going to go back into one of my WIPs and look at it. So this is my full page view. Oh, I have a question. So when I put in today's progress, so this is my Baba Yaga. We charted progress for yesterday. If I put today's progress in, does this automatically update to 2 days progress?
Yes.
That's so cool. Okay.
So you'll have all of that updating. Anywhere all the way up to 2025 will update according to those. Yes.
And then if I track today's progress and I put a progress picture on the track today's progress page, does that also pulls into the WIP when I?
Yes. So usually the best place to see it is under your Stitch tracker database. Okay. And then if you go to WIP breakdown, it kind of shows it this way. Cool. Or if you go by progress photos by WIP too, or by date, it will pull there too.
Very cool.
Yeah. And you can always just like filter it to only show a specific WIP, for example. So if you click on, add filter next to it. So you can do WIPs.
Oh.
And you can say it's going to be just Baba Yaga.
That's so cool. This is so cool. There's so many little things. I feel like
you have a lot of ways to tweak
There's
that.
so many things to do.
All right. I think if you have a specific type of floss that you want to add a couple of skeins in there, we can do that.
Let's add some. Let's add some floss. So add new floss?
Yeah, so you can go ahead and do a quick one from there.
Okay.
So a lot of times it would ask you, do you want to do it? Because that way, you don't accidentally click something and then you go somewhere.
I appreciate that second warning as an accidental clicker.
Yeah, same here. So this is one way to do it. So let's say you can put one of your flosses through here.
I use the name here.
Perfect.
Roxy Floss Co. It's green. Roxy Floss Co. Snow Pea. It doesn't have a number. I have one.
Mm-hmm.
It is used in WIP. Fancy that.
Nice.
Where is my floss? Same place.
Perfect. So, and again, if you don't care about where it's used and you just want to, know where it is, you can just use the where's my floss one.
Oh, there's no P's.
There's no P.
All right. That's fine. Moving on.
I usually don't put like icons next to the floss because there's going to be a lot. And when you go to the Floss database, you'll just like see a bunch of those.
It would be too much.
So if you exit out of there and you go to your Floss database, so Floss database.
That one.
And you're going to look at the first page, I guess. Yeah, the Floss database. You can see it's over there, right? So.
Oh, I love this because I just have to stop and admire this because we added these in two different ways. We added the Snow Pea from the main page and we added SOE from inside a WIP. And they both came here.
Yeah, so you can do it for a bunch of different places. You don't necessarily have to like get out of your WIP information to put it in this view. But let's say you wanted to put a bunch of different flosses from the same dyer in, and you just didn't want to have to click or type the same dyer name and floss type again and again.
Okay.
You can do a little bit of a little cheat to give you a shortcut. So what I would do is go to filter. filter by your dyer.
Okay.
And then you can add another filter.
Add filter.
Yes. And you can do it by the floss type. Because you're just going to insert a bunch of Roxy Flossco
Cottons.
that are cotton.
Perfect.
Yes. All right. Now, if you click on new, it's already going to populate that the dyer is Roxy Flossco and that the type is cotton.
Oh my gosh.
So you don't have to click on that.
You just fill in a couple of things.
Yes. And if you're just adding a bunch of things that are with Baba Yaga, you can also do that.
I can add
so
that
if you
filter.
add that as another
Used in when?
Perfect.
Oh my gosh.
Now, I guess it was either used in whip or Where's My Floss, whichever one you prefer, and whichever one you're going to use.
Oh, I have to get rid of that one, huh?
Yeah, I guess like this one, it's usually like you just delete it and then.
Where's My Floss?
Yes.
There.
And now you'll see both. So now if you click new, it will auto-populate all three.
That's so cool.
So this is just a way to save yourself some time.
That's excellent. So I could get rid of this one. Now I just have to play with it.
Yes.
And I could say, where's my floss in Baba Yaga?
And do new.
And do new.
There you
And
go.
put in green apple. This one does have a number. This one is the gentle art. Make them. We'll make them blue.
Nice.
I love all the clickies. It's also green.
Awesome.
Where is it? Baba Yaga. I have one. This is so fun. I know what I'm doing the rest of the day. This is so much fun. It's wild that it's this much fun to track your whips. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
You do. Of course you do. You made this.
For me, it's fun enough to make this whole thing.
It's
so yes.
cool. It's so cool. Okay.
And then, if you go all the way back to the left-hand side, and let's say you wanted to delete the one that you added accidentally, you can click on this and delete, or you can right-click and get there, whichever way.
So cool.
Yeah, I like it. You can also select a bunch at the same time. So if you, if you
they have little
select
boxes.
a few, and then you can at the top just change a few things together. So
you can add all of these to where is my floss.
So click on that, for example.
They're all in Baba
Yaga. You can remove Baba Yaga from, or you can add that. But now since we had this all filtered through this, I would just do Control Z or whatever to undo.
Control Z is one of my favorite things in the world.
You can easily undo if you accidentally do things like I do. Yes. Just don't forget to get this unfiltered if you're using the main page to filter and do that. But you can also just duplicate this and have this duplicated view available for you to filter around when you want to insert a bunch of floss from the same type or the same category or the same whip.
Right. So if I want to, that's a good call. So if I need to make sure, because I'll freak out if I go to my Floss database and I forgot to take off my filters at the top. Mm-hmm. I'll freak out and think that everything is gone now.
But that's the thing. At the top, you can always see, okay, we have our filters for, and we have our sorts.
So I just have to check up here before I freak out.
Yeah. Also, if you just want to create something new, you can right-click at the Floss database, duplicate it, and just put a test or adding floss or whatever.
Adding multiple.
Yes. And then you can add the filters to that one. So once you're done with that, you don't have to worry about that affecting your main database.
Very cool. But it will still go into my main database.
Yes, correct. Yeah. I don't know what else did we want to add and talk about. So all of those pages, you can see you can add like your banner to all of them. I would say don't necessarily add a bunch to things that are not your whips if you don't have to, because it may take some longer time to load.
Got it.
Usually it's not an issue, but
So probably better to
yeah.
keep like the flosses and whatnot more simple, and then
Yeah.
save the zhuzhing up for the whip.
For the whips. Yeah, that's what I would say. Yes, and let's see. Okay, one more thing that I added for our shopping lists. So you can see on the right-hand side, actual shopping list below.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So this comes from your fabric stash and DMC stash and floss. If you put like shopping list or to buy, it will be there. For me, if I just want to move one thing at a time, I would maybe go to the WIP database and to each database of each material and just change that. But if I wanted to, for example, I kitted up big full coverage project. I had to get 112 new skeins of DMC. And let's say I wanted to move them all, one skein of each, from my shopping list to my stash.
Okay.
So the best way to do that is through the buttons up there. If you scroll up and to the left, you'll see Floss shopping list to stash or DMC shopping list to stash. What those buttons do, they're going to move everything from the shopping list to the stash. So you can see that the DMC, you've got 310 in your cart.
Yes.
Right? And if you scroll down, how many do you have in your cart?
Just one.
One. Perfect. So if you click on DMC shopping list to stash and click yes.
I'm glad that this one has a are you sure?
Are you sure? Yes. You can see it's no longer there. And if you look at your DMC, I already had one in stash, so you should have two. So let's see if it worked.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now there's two.
So we should have two. Yes. This would work for most numbers of skeins. So if you had just one or two in stash and you're adding one or two more, or you had 0 in stash and you're adding up to 4 more, that button should work. If you want to add like 10 from your shopping list to your stash, it would not work because those buttons had to be manually configured, and I just put in there the most common ones that you would like to add in bulk. So if you have like 10 skeins of a monochromatic, big project that you're making, you may have to just like go to the DMC database, go to the shopping list tab. And then I would say if you had like 10 skeins of 310 on your shopping list. Oh, and one thing about this, I would not add the numbers manually for the DMC database because that one is already pre-populated, but you can't see it because it's filtered. So I would go to the main DMC database tab, find your 310, and go from there.
Got it.
And then add it, yes.
So then you would put 10 here.
Yes, let's put 10. So let's go to the main page and see kind of what that looks like. So if I do DMC shopping list, you can see there's 10. We can, delete the one. And then let's try to move it, DMC to stash. Yes. And then it did not work because basically the conditions to make things move from one place to the other were not met because this was like too many.
Got it.
So this would clear most of your shopping cart, but not all of it. Some things may need to be manually done, but they're coming out with more automation features. So I really am looking forward to be able to maybe sharing an update for folks to how to upgrade it once once this becomes a feature in Ocean, but no tool is perfect, but we're still like, this is still would have helped me so much if when I was kitting up this big full coverage and
Absolutely.
try to get 112 from my shopping list to my stash.
That must have been a lot of clicking.
That was a lot of clicking, but it worked. The other way you can do it, actually, in Notion, because I was using a different way of tracking it. But in Notion, the other way you could do it, you can select everything and add that to your cart. So, for example, if you go to your DMC and you go to your shopping list, if you have
I have
a few,
the 2x10 here, and I went shopping, and I know I can't use the button on the main page because it's 10.
Yes.
Can I just do this and change this to 12 and this to
Yes.
0 now?
Yes, but that's exactly the order I would do it. So I would do it first, put it the in stash, and then put your then delete.
First add
So
it
you
to
did
this.
it.
Because if I make this 0, then it disappears.
It will get filtered out.
Because I have 2 Got it.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. So that first and then that, because it takes it off.
Perfect.
Okay. And I did make use of my Control Z there.
I love that.
Just a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah. And you can do the same way with your floss finder. So if you go and you're done stitching on whip 2, for example, that has 33 and 34, you can remove everything over from here.
So I would keep used in whip because I know I used them, but then I would delete. I would minus it off of the linked page. I love these little pluses and minuses too. And then there's nothing in there because whereas my floss is sorted to is not empty, and they're all empty. This is real cool. You pull this up when you're at Acorns, right? So that you can see. I've seen you do that. Cool.
I'm like, oh, what do I have? Oh, I'm gravitated towards this color. Yes, I already have 3 of them.
I often gravitate towards that. This would be great. Yes. I am going to put my charts in here. Can I put my charts in here? Where would you put your charts?
So if you go to whips.
Oh, to kit.
Yeah. So, yes, exactly. So you can already put new under to kit up. And then add. So again, this adds like new project as your default title. And you're just going to choose and do whatever you want with that.
I don't know any. Oh, wait. I have Mother Maya in my stash from Ink Circle.
So you can open. Also, what you can do about this, you can change your settings to always open it in. Instead of side peek, you can see.
Edit view default. There we go.
Okay.
This is so good. Say like we can just finish adding this because we were adding this as a stash. Okay. So.
Okay. Let's see. So I guess we can keep going with adding this whip.
Okay. And I'm just gonna change. Can I change this one? Oh, I'm gonna just rather than designer 1, I'm just gonna make it say ink circles. Is that
perfect?
Oh. So I'll leave started and finished empty.
Yes. However, I think if you did that and edited it, the other things that were marked as designer 1 might be marked as ink circles.
I think
so we can take a look and see if that's how it. But yeah,
changed them all.
I believe so.
And then how do I? How do you change one of these? How do you make a new property on this?
All right, so let's try to see if you can add one from here. I don't think you can, but I'll show you the other way if you can't.
No.
Okay, so if you go to your whips database,
okay,
and on your progress column, edit property at the bottom. So now you can add to-dos, add in progress. So you can say chart and stash. And you can change the color. So you can change the color to all of those to be whatever you want. I just had purple for one and then blue for other, but you can change it to be whichever way you like. If you wanted, again, to add in progress and change the in progress to be on time out, shelved, whatever you'd like, you can do all of that.
Got it. That's so cool.
Yeah. So,
So I can put UFO here.
yes, you definitely can.
And then change the color.
Perfect.
I like to make UFO red, but I also don't want it to have like a bad connotation, but I'll leave it red for now. Cool. So Mother Maya, ink circles, chart in stash. And then I know that I have it, but I don't know anything else about it because there's nothing with it.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
That's cool.
And you can add your icons, or you can put like a note at the bottom of like, I want to start it this month or whatever.
Right, like plan to sell with.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I definitely need to add some of those notes so I stop forgetting my sales.
It's so easy. A lot of things here are searchable, but for the most part, it's easier to search things that are part of properties, but you can search your notes too.
Yeah.
Let's see. So one more thing that some folks have shared is creating new ways of categorizing their WIPs.
Okay.
So if you go to your WIP database, you can add that. So if you add at the top, there's a plus next to latest scene, for example.
Okay.
Oh, I apologize. The other latest scene.
Oh,
there's a lot of places, so you can
let me delete that one.
Delete that if you'd like.
Okay. Latest scene.
So below.
Oh, here.
Here we go. Yes.
Oh.
So you can add a property. So for example, you can have that as a select or multi-select. I would say multi-select if you'd like.
Okay.
And then sort, you can have it, if you click on that, alphabetical usually is pretty nice.
Okay.
And then go back. And, sorry, we have the multi-select.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why it didn't go.
Oh, multi-selected.
Oh, sorry. You can change the name now.
Okay.
Perfect. To type, for example. And then you can add properties to that.
Oh, like...
so click on that.
Like full coverage.
Yeah. Yes. So you can add full coverage. You can add smalls. You can add quirky Quaker.
Nice.
Right? And if you don't want it to necessarily be involved, like be part of the things that are like part of your WIPs. So let's say you have a type that you'd like to add that is not necessarily something that you've already added.
Mm-hmm.
If you click on type and you can click on edit property. Here you go. So you can add options. So if you click on the plus next to options, you can just add all the options that you'd like over
rather
here.
than doing it one at a time.
Yeah, so you can just like add all the options that you'd like. You can change the number, the color, all of that.
Got it. From one place.
Yes. And then some folks have created a different view. So they basically duplicated the WIP list and then they grouped it by the type. Or they filtered by the type.
Got it. So you can look at all your smalls, whether they're finished, in progress, or kitted, or cool.
Yeah, or like if you wanted to look at like the ones that you just finished in 2023, you can look at that too. But you can definitely play around with categorizing and filtering things a little more.
That's awesome. I feel like my homework should be to add all of my WIPs onto this before we make the next video.
Well, yeah, that's gonna be a while. I
Yeah.
usually recommend just starting with what you're gonna be working on, and then the other thing that you can do is go over your project bags. Let's say you've got some floss that you don't know where it is, and you just wanted to like go over your project bags, put the information for those whips, and then put the information of what floss is with them. And then you can do the rest as you go. But I found it helpful when I got started.
Yeah. I like that idea. I think as I pull out a whip, I will put all my flosses in that are with it, the fabric and everything, and like make that a fully. I love these project cards. I think I love the project cards.
I really like them. And again, the fact that like you've got those like pulling on your weekly view or your monthly view. So if you just want to know like, oh, the ones that I stitch on this week, this
Yeah.
is all the information I wanted to have about them. So
That's really cool. I like that too.
yeah, so that's kind of what I was going for with that. But
I think this might be
this is
my
the
favorite.
fun fact. Oh, well, I think, this is one of those things that you make of it what you put into it. So if you're going to be using it, you're going to get more out of it. But if you, don't necessarily track your progress, you will maybe use it more for, organizing and finding your flaws.
Yeah.
You just a matter of what you want to get out of it.
Or not buying the same chart twice. That's a good.
Yes.
That's a good thing to do. Very cool.
Had that happen too.
Anytime.
And yeah, I think the one more thing that someone was sharing that they did was create a whole additional database for their project bags
Oh
and
wow.
then linking them. So they had like the project bags, the photo of that, and then they linked it to the whip so they knew which whip was with it. And
That's
then they
smart.
could get a gallery view of your project bags and know where your whips are. So I'm not quite there, but I love that people were using it that way.
Yeah, that's really smart, especially if you don't have like the vinyl front project bags, right? You can't just peek into them. I like that.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, what's
All
next?
right.
Now people ask questions and
Yeah. I think we're gonna, we covered some things. We covered a lot of things, but there's always more questions. And when it comes to Notion, like you can see that this has a certain font and this has a certain color and icons and whatnot. You can change all of them. So if you want it at the top right corner, you can change your font.
oh my gosh, yes you can.
Yeah, so this is the default. You can change to another one. They don't have that many, but it's available.
that.
And then you can make the text smaller there as well if you wanted. I find it not necessary. Some people that write like notes for school using Notion
Oh yeah.
may do that. And then full width, this is something that basically it will fit the full size of your screen.
Oh,
But you can change that it wouldn't. So it will just like kind of get all smooched together to the middle. But I kept it as full width as default, but you can do whatever you'd like with that.
yeah.
Changing that top banner if you have your own logo or just a photo that, you like to have there. So you can upload that.
There's so
And then
much.
even the colors. Yeah, even the colors for your headers, like quick actions, dashboard, database, you can change the colors. I was just picking some colorful things. So you can reposition, you can do a bunch of different things. Yeah, if you click on the 3 dots or 6 dots,
Oh, color.
you can change
Wow.
the color. You can make a lot of changes. So I would say, like you said, Michelle, like definitely, probably best before you're making changes, you can just save the template as is and then duplicate it and make changes to the duplicate.
Yeah, that definitely makes
That way, if you're not sure if something was like accidentally changed or whatnot, you will just have that available to reference.
I definitely wish I
Yeah.
would have done that before I started deleting things last time. But we're starting again, so it's good.
We got this.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, definitely I feel like we covered a lot here, but I'm just encouraging people to let me know if they have any questions, to really just try to play with it. A lot of things when it comes to how to use Notion, how to make it your own. You can Google like, hey, how do I change the font, or how do I change the view? But a lot of that is just clicking around and playing until you kind of see what makes sense for you. Yeah, and you can just message me on Instagram if you have any questions, or leave comments down here below this video. And yeah, I'm definitely open to making more videos of how to use this or anything else.
Yeah, I would love to learn more.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Michelle, for like helping me with this. And because trying to explain just how to use it by myself to myself would not necessarily raise all the questions that, when someone is actually trying to use it. So yeah, I really appreciate you.
It's my pleasure to be that person that clicks in the wrong place for you. So I will I will always be that. It is easier to learn this way, and I appreciate you taking me through it, because now I feel like I can put my stuff in. I'll ask you questions, I'm sure I will. But I think this was a great, like, super overview, high level, and then how to get your whips put in. I loved it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I hope everybody liked coming along with us. And then, like you said, ask questions below. And if we get enough questions, maybe we'll do another video.
Yep. I'm down.
All right.
Right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.